Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Coming live from Fire Up Your Heart, children of God. So I have a few things I want to go over with my whole 97 people. I'm on Cura. I don't say this enough. It's under Fire Up Your Heart. Did I change that one to the one I changed here? I'm afraid I lost one or two ladies because I shifted names and changed my picture on here. It's like it's actually it was in one of my videos, and John helped me do the thing where you cut it down to that one image and then sent it. And so I have that on there. It's Fire Up Hearts for Jesus, I think, on Cura too. I had to go in there and change it. So I was having some problems with some people, or well, anyhow, not just shutting my stuff down. So there's so many healing stories I want to express, my experience, the way I was raised. I don't feel like I can really do that much anymore. I always figured I was just going to wait to do the next book after some people passed away. But I have expressed this before. Things were getting still so bad. And then the weird warnings from one relative before he passed away some years back. He passed away a couple years. It'll be 2 years this fall. And he was 8 years older than me. I was raised with him. He was one of my handlers, truly. He started to back off a bit later, but he still was incessant about keeping track of me. And towards the end, I believe he was also in on spreading a lot more bad stuff about me and John, or about John. John is not perfect, but the fact that he has sustained and endured what he has been subjected to, the fact that he didn't go on some kind of rampage, and that I would be visiting him at some sort of place, because it was that bad for us. It really was. And people say, oh, well, I would never think to do that. I would never. Well, I would like to know if you had someone you loved and you saw men and people after her over and over and over, week after week, year after year, just bad, like how you would I want to know how you would specifically handle that. I mean, we certainly didn't get A+ grades on our way of handling things, but okay, long story short, so he spent a lot of time, he wanted me, he was always harassing me about my cell phone. I had to get a better phone. Pretty much was trying to steer it towards that I wasn't being treated right. Yeah, whatever. He couldn't keep a marriage. He could never keep any interpersonal relationships on any normal level. And I feel sorry for him in that regard. I don't think you can do that many opiates and illicit drugs and things and not eat, and pharmaceutical, just push pharmaceuticals, all these vaccines. I mean, I guess it was maybe his paranoia, but I was like, okay, so staying on track here is, at one point he said, so-and-so would have been one of the associates of the man that raised me, and knowing, that he had his wife killed, right? It was something on that order, and it was like an indirect threat with several other threats through the last several years. I didn't know why I was even being threatened to be killed. No one gave me the specific directions on that one. I just must have got too close to truth about what I was stuck in. And some may misinterpret this 2005 amends. That's a long time ago. But see, that was a pivotal moment with Spirit and God. And maybe I was supposed to leave but the way that it unfolded with the stalking grandmother, and I realize now that she called all the way up north, because it was so small back then. So when I would go in for employment and stuff, I was immediately shunned and shot down. And the only success rate I had, and I spent like I was just like from like January all the way until I started to just, it wasn't looking good. So say that first month, I'm getting just shut down. So then I started looking for a woof farm to get me and Jesse out on, because I can see that this situation just isn't working for him. And it was actually a really nice, safe house. It was an old nun's sleeping quarters. It was a smaller building, and it was, it had kind of an industrial type feel. But there was still like a living room and a nice rec room attached to the kitchen, and there was a little sitting area, and you could get around on foot. So, for instance, what this woman would do that raised me, because was still having to protect her perversions, and her demons were petrified of me getting ever any help and getting this stuff exposed, because she did multiple abuses on the children, and I was the only one standing against it. Let's just put it that way. They would hurt me, beat me, lock me out of the house, constantly called the police on me, always ripping and shredding at me and my child, to separate us, when really I needed to have the power to just stay away. But I just don't think it was going to be that simple. So when I said that I left, so then I was supposed to go to this farm with my son. The trains were in a union war, and we got stuck in Colorado for like days, it seemed like. Oh, God. But when you're with was he about 6 or 7? About between 6 and 7 years old. So I think he would have been turning 7 when we got to California. And the plan was just to get there, maybe visit the redwoods, and probably most likely just try to get us back up north. But see, Anne, and then she sends out all the at that time I didn't know, like flying monkeys type stuff. And so then all these people and then I've got their stupid cell phone plan. How dumb is that? So she was able to line up to have me fired the time when she was forcing to come out for a visit from my job. So I had to abate this Colorado farm because he started shifting gears. Say I corresponded with this farm. It was an apple fruit farm, and it was called White Buffalo Farms. But when we got on the train, he started to shift his tune with me, and I had to keep him updated because of the union wars. And because we were just getting like stuck on for hours sometimes in certain states, and some states were worse than others. And he started shifting though, and I was getting very concerned. But see, there again, wisdom. I should have stopped where we were in Flaghead, or one of those main stop. It's a main stop. It used to be Flagstaff, or no, I've got this wrong. I've been through there more than once. It's just escaping me right now. So the wise part at 28 or whatever I was with this bouncing little one is stop, stand still. But see, I had a trauma disorder, and I tend to think if there's this place to escape. But I also knew my son needed to know that he had to learn so that he had to rely on me, and he had to learn some form of respect for me. And when he has enough puppets, when he would have enough puppets to play with, it was just a nightmare. And he couldn't pull the wool over the Indian women's eyes up north, and he knew it, and they knew it, or well, they knew it. But so then he was doing stuff at school, and then probably and then they were letting him talk to the woman. But the thing is she was the main problem. But technically, she probably was already making threats and did the dirty laundry on me with the workers at the safe house. Lo and behold, they said, please come back. But I guess I just knew whatever it was just bigger than us. And it wasn't going to be cured up with the Indians. If anything, it probably was going to bring a host of issues. Or they were just going to go by the paperwork, and there was going to be pigeonholed again and right back in the same routine. I don't really know. But the reason I'm discussing this is that I received vital information when I ended up in California, but there was a lot of tragedy around it. There was the ceremony. I don't know if I got extra poisoned, but it was pretty horrific. I had a complete freak out, more or less. So it gave grounds to the elder woman to pretty much just grab my son up and go back to Michigan, which is completely illegal. I was not beating him or abusing him. We had a place to go. We had a second place, a woman I worked with. We could stay there until I could figure something out. But see, I just couldn't fight with this woman anymore. And she was able to get Jesse mad at me and blame me for everything because he's just a little guy. So then I just gave up. I was just like, I just can't fight this woman anymore. This woman is such a psychotic. demon lady, and I don't know how God's ever going to fix any of this. So but see, shortly before I finally was forced to come home, I got information about 9/11, and it was solid, and it was documented, and it was through video form. But see, here again, I think I'm doing something good, right? But I'm still this guilt-ridden woman that was a failure as a mother. And because the thing is a mother is going to fail when she has a bunch of predators and people working against her. Any person's going to fail. But was I beating my son and neglecting him and starving him and having sex with him? No, I was not. So that's the situation here. And I want to learn peace. I want this to settle. But the thing is that I just don't think it was supposed to be as rough as it was. So what we're going to do now is we're going to say, for whatever reason, maybe I had to get those videos, that I was compelled to get that information. I was right in that spot. I mean, not everyone had that information out there. It was this random event once again, but random with order was there was a Sundance ceremony down by the Eel River. I met some natives. I met some other people. They got me through the detox of whatever had happened to me. It might have been the one thing it was just too much. But see, I had the predator there. She's there. She shouldn't be there. She doesn't want to be there. She's there to turn my son ultimately against me. Get home and try to start doing this thing where she's going to take him from me. Prior to leaving out to this farm that we did abate those plans. She offered me over $100,000 to stay back in Monroe. I was furious. I was like, $100,000? But if I had left one more time with my son, that I wasn't going to get the money. No, they wanted me trapped up in the house where I'd been raped and all these other things had done to me, beat and all of this. And then they could do their demented stuff with my son. Go ahead, whoever, get this video shut down too. I am going to keep speaking about this. If this is my son shutting this stuff down, you need to get a grip. I barely have a small group. Nobody knows you and me together. Nobody is watching this. We don't even associate. So what is it to you? I don't think that this is disrespect. This story needs to be known. I'm not going to write the book. It's too painful. I'm going to get this out until I feel like God says no more, no more. Because it's not fair. It's not fair. And the thing is I'm not alone. The thing is that this happens to women like me all the time. And it's still going on. Now we're going to go on to some more scary stuff. They said that the bridge collapsing, okay, now we're done with the 9/11 thing. I got that information. I spread a lot of it as quickly as I could. When I come back home, I went out for a second trip. He gave me more downloads. I took that back again. I went for a very short trip the second time. They had me back on something. I knew I couldn't leave Jesse very long. I was kind of had to be there to make kind of not a threat, but just kind of like, because the perverse stuff was still going on. It's like I just felt blocked. I was like, if I went up north, it just seemed like something more horrible, like, so say 2006, because there they had beat me up again in front of my son. That time too, black eyes and stuff, and swifted him off somewhere that day. I don't know where they took him. I wasn't beating him. I put him in a timeout. He was kicking and fighting whatever the man of the house, the elder, whatever he was making him do back at the barn was causing my son to have serious problems, and it was very scary. And the cops came and threw me off the property, threatened me. He sent the mafia cops out again. Everyone's not at the house. I'm having to pedal a bike with a concussion and 2 black eyes. This was 2006, the summer of. The doctors proceed to put me on things so that I'm hallucinating and having all sorts of problems. I'm like, these are not working. I'm not crazy. I have a trauma disorder. I have been beat, stolen from, lied, used, raped, cheated on, thrown out of houses, had my son they just keep shredding at us. And this was all to protect pedophiles. Lo and behold, it takes me many years later to figure out what was going on. So we have, now we're going to go on to even some more fun stuff about America. They're still pushing electric cars, which takes what I believe you have to mine, is it lithium? You have to mine lithium. They're still blaming most of the pollution on cars. This program made everyone buy cars back in the day. People used to be on foot or other forms of transportation, public transportation, or a train, or you lived in closer communities and everyone had their own food and things like that. And distributed within that neighborhood or community, helped each other, fed each other. So then they started making people think they needed to have a car, and if they didn't have a car, they were not safe to walk because there was other cars and they could get hit by something. And it's all just such a farce and all such a bunch of bullshit. So then now they have where they're going to blame all of us for the cars. I don't know about you, but this town I was in for years, there wasn't even any public transportation. You couldn't even get around. And then when they did have the buses, it was a joke. If you had to get to work on time, you weren't going to get to work on time if you didn't drive or you didn't want to drive. Any proper bike paths? No. Electric cars, it's a farce. Stop it. Stop. This is bullshit. Rikers Island, our country alone, especially women's prisons, women are raped. And they're raped in an organized manner. I'm talking the guards go, they wake them up. Rikers Island is rating now as the top raping capital of, well, New York City always was, is like when I was going to do the acting stuff, I knew I had to be with an agent here. That agent had to hook me up with hopefully a safe agent out there, and that's what they were setting up. But it doesn't mean I was so dumb. I'm sure I would have fallen for some bullshit somewhere. But the thing is that O'Brien's was going to set me up with something hopefully safe. We would make sure, double check it, make sure everything was kosher for live theater work. And I had a wide variety of options. I was very open to the sense of backstage, prep, anything to do with live theater. So, but they are Rikers Island. And so these women, there was a testimony on the radio about this. This is so fucking sick. New York is disgusting. Everywhere else is too. What the fuck is wrong? I am sick and tired of this. I would like to move on myself. You know what? I haven't been able to move on. I didn't look for that on the radio. I just wanted to fix my lunch. Trust me, I go to God every day and say, this has consumed my entire life. I was abused young, sexually. I was groomed and primed, spread out all over the place, then defaced, just mutilated in this county, and all to protect sexual predators. Not one of them got in trouble. All the way down from the court systems, the jails, the people that were on the other side of the family shunned my son, blamed me. When there is a man that then gave birth to more children, abandoned his firstborn, and he had other abortions prior, and he never got in trouble because he's part of these rings. So the women finally come out because they're scared to death, right? If you could have heard this testimony, it was like the guards go in the room and they're like, okay, time to get up. And it wasn't like they could have any fun. They had to go in another room and get on their knees and do, what do you think? The one woman's like, she's like, I just prayed the whole time, please, Lord, help me through this. Just make it go away, make it quick. And they're saying, Rikers, I hope I'm saying it wrong. Rikers Island is saying that it's just allegations. It's not solid. The bridge, back to the bridge. Oh, this is a fun one. Well, it was supposed to be fun because I was going to go a little more into the henna and stuff. We'll try to wrap that up or wrap up with Black Elk again. There was a debate over his conversion. Something about he may have converted to Catholicism. I don't think it was like that. I think he just was trying to make peace with the white man's religion and his old beliefs. But as far as I know, he was still a very traditional Lakota. Black Elk. The Oglala, Holy Man, and Sioux traditions. Now, I just saw an amazing documentary on that. It literally was amazing. It's probably one of the best I've ever seen. One of the very best. I mean, they kept it, they did such great work with it. You learned things. They were able to keep it going at a nice pace. That would be on my YouTube, and I then did post it on the Quora. On the original names, it's actually on that map up there that I have. And the original names, actually, the Sioux name, now Lakota there was the Dakota, the Lakota, and I was trying to write a lot of it down. But I was going to read an excerpt out of here, but now I got fired up. about stuff again. And the Lakota Traditionalist or Catholic Catechism. These are some nice pictures. I have shown this book before. Black Elk died in 1950. He was blind. The bridge. They're using that as an excuse to jack prices up more. Do you know the value of our house technically is around $100,000? That's how much we got raped. To get out of, because we had to get out of where we were. Did I show this one good enough? That's actually a lot going on. It's cute. These men, as far as I know, I've glanced through the book several times, little excerpts, and they were dear friends to one another. All of different faiths. Just have to check. Yeah, this is really making me look great today. Ben Black Elk. I'm glad though. I'm glad technically, because I'm still not faring too badly, but I just have to put up with the poor quality. And this is a beautiful, some would say folklore. In the Lakotas, the Sioux, there's actually a more solid name that many groups out there, or how it actually folds out. I wrote it down. Oyati was mainly the original name. It's a long story. It'd be best to watch the documentary, because it's actually quite involved and it goes back a long time. And I don't know if it's even speculation, but that it is the oldest groups. I don't know if there's debates about that in some of the tribal groups, or maybe. But going back the farthest, meaning the oldest tribes. Some joined together and some dispersed. They have their own explanation of the divides when man was disrespecting each other and the earth, and Creator God and Mother Earth fixed it. I have tried to say this in Lakota, but I don't want to mess it up again. I'm afraid I did the one time. And this is the Lakota prayer given to Father Gall by Black Elk, 1949. I wanted to get into the fact, did he convert over or not? I don't know. I'm going to go by my own instincts, is that he wanted to make peace with the religion because they came and took over. Okay. And there's just heinous reports of abuse through the boarding schools and stuff for the natives. The torture, the abuse, they couldn't use their names, they couldn't speak in their own language, just really just trying to make them white. And the only bit that I know, if the grandfather down south is my grandfather, and I say this because of the lies, because of the cover-ups. Quite frankly, I'm not going to trust anything until I see it for real, that it's truly, because I just remember hearing my grandma utter some things, and it was mainly like, pretty much like, the woman that raised me was in deep shit with God, and it was something about me. And that was the only time I heard Emily say that. And then my grandpa did definitely look a lot of Indian. I don't know, I don't want to say he stuck out in the white community, but because he really wanted to blend in, I think. He was trying, but no. Grandfather, Great Spirit, help us. We, the people, are having a difficult time. We are in pain and are heartbroken. Help me, along with my people. I, with my people, depend on you. Mother Earth, the children, Mother from the four winds, help them. They will be relatives of the stone. Grandfather, Great Spirit, help us. Thus spake Black Elk. I'd like to practice again, but I know it's going to shut down because I had to put stuff over to erase it. And where did I get the seeds? This is the fun part. Oh, goodness. It's like escaping me. I have purchased, when we were kind of rolling better monetarily, I bought myself my first time moccasin boots and some other purchases through a group. Unfortunately, I don't have that here right now, and I'm going to say that that's what this was from, or it may have even been part of purchasing this book. But that wouldn't make much sense because this is from this is New Mexico. Might have been the art I got. I got some art, beautiful arts, work. I would have to sit back and kind of organize thoughts to figure out what came from where, but made several purchases, a couple from artists, obviously the map, a couple other beautiful pieces, the one really beautiful one I adore. I don't know if I've ever shown it, and this is one of those longer ones, and these don't go as well. So we're going to skip over the henna. Most likely I'm not going to be doing the one that says black. I have more of a brown hair, and the last time that I accidentally did something with a color that was supposed to be less chemicals, I know my husband was like, whoa, and then he had to, so we'll see on that one. And henna is very messy, and I'm going to have to test it. Not to mention you have to go by hair length, and since there's not much going on, I have to depend on that. So I would have several applications of this. The Brahmi powder, I think I did go over these things. This is supposed to be edible, but I got to look it up and just be for sure what family it comes from. I think what's really throwing me is this looks like these plants we had in a little garden pond once. And it grows and grows and grows and grows. And to think that we had all that right there. And it was for hair and skin and stuff. That could be a different one. Like, I want to get those plants for the pool, for the fish, and that. Why are we not using the pool ourselves? I don't know. It's just not something that we're probably going to do. I just don't see it happening. For one, it's too high up. We don't have proper fencing. And this was the other thing. A couple other things. Now, I know this isn't fully organic. Oh my God. Sorry about that. It's in the basement. This is not fully organic, but I got it at Aldi's. But I did end up purchasing it online. It's a little bit pricey, like everything else. But honestly, a couple of rugs because of the dogs, and then it tracks the mud more onto the rugs. But then sometimes I just get to where I'm like, because they're a little bit rough. They're destructive. I don't think it's on purpose. Well, I don't know about that, but they like being rough with things, like they shred stuff accidentally or not. It's hard to explain. I've never got it on video because they know. It's when they're trying to do top dog, and then there's always like a rope toy involved, and then Usually about a week or so before the full moons, they get more, I don't know if like aggressive, but definitely rougher with each other. This is called Nine Elements, and it's not, I don't think it's that like pure, but all I know is that I had this rug back here and the white on it, it's a mandala, the blue, and it's like supposed to be super bright white. I was looking at it the other day. I cleaned up there pretty good, and it is so clean now. I don't like a lot of the regular traditional detergents. It itches my skin. It gets dry. Sinus. This is a lighter scent, maybe even still a little stronger than I like. But by the time it's washed and it's dried, it's very light. It's not, and like, this is citrus. I bought a eucalyptus. It was like a package deal. So the 3, and it's between $13 to $14 for 92 fluid ounces. That's 2.87 quarts. No dyes, brighteners, or art. But see, everyone tries to say they're natural because, see, I'm reading right here, and it's like sodium C10, the cleaning agent. And when you look at a word like that, it's like you have to know algebra and a foreign language all in one. So, and a chemistry degree. So when you know that, but I don't know if it's just because they have the vinegar added in, but it's at the bottom. But whatever mix they did here. If you got something and you're like, I love this, but I'm going to throw it out because it's not worth, it's just gross. I recommend that because those rugs are blowing my mind. These dogs it's like their Velcro feet and they have Velcro hair. So you're always going to be wearing their hair most of the time. We have the roller. So you got to always have the roller, and their feet, it's like, I don't know, like they're bigger or something, and then there's like the fur, and they're like little mud traps. They just stick dirt and mud on them. Little Velcros. Yeah, that's them. It's cute little rascals sometimes. Wow. So we did the prayer, showed the detergent that it's my favorite ever. I used to go through just Arm & Hammer, but I couldn't find the Arm & Hammer powder non-scented much anymore, so I can't stand the fragranced one. And I don't like the oxy thing in it. But this probably has like a form of, I don't know. I just know I'm not itching as much, and it really does clean the clothes. And he works in a fab shop, so there is grit and grime, and it really cleans his stuff good. And even though he's working around metal, very rarely does he bring that metal. Like, it doesn't like stick a lot on him. There's only rare occasions where there's a job like that, and we keep those things separate. They were told it's not 100%, that 6 months to a year, they should be up and running more with the towers. They have other jobs they're doing right now. They're doing industrial size pylons, like metal. They're really huge, and they sink down in the ground. Something to do with putting warehouses up. So apparently we need more warehouses because, well, we don't need to worry about that, do we? Let's not go conspiracy-ish on this. Mostly what these are for the hair and stuff, it's to just make your hair healthier and stuff. Kind of just give it like a bump and shine, and minerals and vitamins and things. Henna. Yes, that's henna. What else? Numbers. Numbers with the Lakotas are very important. This was totally nuts to me, because if I was really born in 74, it's a big one. That's a big one for them. And a 10s. And I don't know if it was 11s, so that's even more wild. So first time ever I learned about Oyate is the original, what they would consider their original name. For some reason, the white settlers associated them with snakes and stuff, so the Sioux thing came about. Then the Indians were just like, well, I don't know, I guess that's what they want to call us. I do believe God's going to make stuff right. I just don't know if some of us are going to be here for it. So part of me makes me sad. The other part, yeah, I want to be home, but I still kind of wish some stuff had just went a little bit different. Meantime, they're still raping and slaughtering the women over in the Middle East. Israel is not backing down or letting up the genocides. Most of the church is asleep, like a lullaby tune with sleeping pills, and going along with this, supporting this Israeli attacks. Meantime, I had the most odd vision, but they harass me in every department. So if it isn't auditory, it's ringing, it's this, it's that. So I've been having my dreams interfered with. I have to just toss them aside when I wake up. Some will stick. Well, this one was odd, and I'm just going to wrap this one up. This is a long show. There was, John and I were in the car. I don't know. We were by this big brick building. We were in a city. I don't know if we got lost, what was going on, or the car broke down. Our cars just break down all the time, and it wasn't us. My husband's like a really good mechanic. It was just so nuts what has been done to us. Well, it kind of still is, but not too bad. And then there was like the miracle thing with the Mini Cooper when some lady tried to kill him and shove him into the ditch. I almost missed a pole. John said it was like a miracle what happened to the Mini. We still have it tied up. I said, what's the point? Just maybe if we keep the bumper tied up with the orange paracord, people can leave us alone a little bit. So we're getting the truck back up and going, but we got to get it to a shop for this last thing. We feel safer in the truck, and the puppies like the truck, and they do better in the truck, I think, because we're up higher, and they don't bark as much at people, and we would be able to manage to take them like on a road trip. They do better, they sleep better, and I don't know where the road trip would be. It would have to be where there's not very many people, because they saw a lot with the neighbors at the last place. So I'm sure nobody's going to remember flashes of how dirty this rug was, but I'm not kidding. It's fully white again. I just am so shocked. They've already dragged leaves in and stuff. Now, we had gotten something for their heads for storms. It's called like a little hoodie, but we had to get extra large, and I don't know why, because this says for large dogs. Or maybe we just don't realize how big they are, but they're not like a Great Dane or nothing. This isn't like a bull mastiff size. So the little hoodie things for their ears for fireworks and stuff should have worked. But, see, he's shaking already. Like, I have to put them in. Well, he wants to play. So there was that last thought I wanted to share when I came out here. What was it? I hate when I do that. Well, I guess it doesn't matter. I remember. I love you guys.